AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, were recently guests on Push Podcast to talk about a number of topics, which include their interest in facing the Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabian, two of my favorite tag team guys, after it was mentioned by a fan on Twitter about how the two teams should face off. FTR also talked about approaching AEW President and CEO Tony Khan about making the massive match happen. This is what FTR said. Just today, there was a tweet about us and the Motor City Machine Guns, and we got all those all the time. But today I made mention it to Tony Khan, so I've spoken about it. I would love to work with them. I mean, if we're going to go down as the greatest tag team of all time, we need to work with the greatest, and they are one of the greatest, and we need to beat them to be the greatest. Would you like to see Motor City Machine Guns against FTR? I would. And of course, I would like to see FTR lose to Motor City Machine Guns. Miro's changing his finishing moves name and dropped some other moves. So former WWE superstar Rusev, now known as Miro, made his AEW ring debut a couple weeks ago with Kip Sabian in a tag team match where Sabian and Miro beat Kiss and Janela via submission with Miro's Game Over submission. Dave Metzler indicated on a recent edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that aside from Miro changing the name of his finishing maneuver from the Accolade to Game Over, Miro also dropped the name Machka Kick, which he typically uses as a setup before applying the submission. Metzler said that Miro's signature super kick no longer has a specific name at this moment. How about we call it the Mark Kick or the Pro Wrestling News Hub Kick? That would be good. Despite there being no mention of WWE owning or trademarking the term Machka or Machka Kick, Metzler noted that WWE will be pissed off if Miro uses those terms or in AEW. The term Machka was reportedly trademarked a long time ago to a restaurant service company, and while the term Machka Kick reportedly is not owned or trademarked by anyone yet, this is according to just the trademarks. Now, Miro mentioned a number of years ago that Machka, which means crush in his native language of Bulgarian, was a catchphrase or term he started and used after watching the movie Rocky IV with his wife, Lana. Former AEW star Sadie Gibbs, recently a guest on Vicky Guerrero's Excuse Me podcast, talked about a number of topics, including how she was planning to move to the United States due to her work in AEW, among other things prior to, of course, COVID, the pandemic, etc. And that was the main reason why she couldn't travel due to the travel restrictions. Here's what she said, quote, I was planning on moving out. My flight was booked on March 25th. My suitcases were packed and ready. Then it all happened on the 20th. And I thought maybe I wasn't meant to go at this time. It was within 5 days. I couldn't believe it. It's gutting, but I don't like to be in the negative headspace where I'm dwelling on everything and feeling sorry for myself because I'm lucky these opportunities came into my life. I just have to take what I can from it and keep going. Gibbs first appeared in the 2019 All Out pay-per-view, then worked a number of episodes of Dark, but has never made an appearance or even competed on Dynamite. Gibbs was eventually released by AEW back in August. Maybe we'll see her again when the travel restrictions end, but man, she was ready to move to the U.S. to be part of AEW, and then you know what happened. Screwed everybody. Previously reported that AEW recently announced the signing of Serena Deeb to the company, who earlier this month made her in-ring debut against NWA Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa in a women's division singles match. Deeb was then scheduled to be part of the next NWA UWN Prime Time Live pay-per-view, as she was set to face Allison Kay in a one-on-one match, but now is being replaced by Nicole Savoy, as she took to Twitter to announce that she will be self-quarantining for 10 days after coming in contact with someone who later tested positive for COVID-19. This is what she said, quote, earlier this week, I came in contact with an individual who later tested positive for COVID-19. I'm taking extra precautions and will be self-quarantining for 10 days. Due to this, I unfortunately have to postpone the match at Primetime Live next week with Allison Kay. I offer my utmost apologies for this. This is a serious matter, and the health and safety of everyone involved always comes first. And you can check out NWA's tweet below, along with Serena Deeb's announcement. So it's a shame. Was this involved with this person that she was in contact with? Was an AEW person, but we don't know because we know that Lance Archer and Ben Carter caught something after they were with AEW. So who knows what's going on, but I would not be surprised if we get more of these in the months to come.